You say Christianity, we say, oh, the teachings of Jesus.
Right.
Nope.
Nope. No.
No.
Not even close.
Not even close. The foundation of Christianity began in Rome, and more specifically with Emperor Constantine and his mother, Empress Helena.
That's right.
That's where it began. And they chopped and screwed the teachings of Jesus. Whistleblowers that were part of, or purport to be part of certain special access programs that spoke exactly to that. They said, we've seen, dealt with, done autopsies on, etc., interacted with various types of aliens. We didn't call, for instance, the Arabic word is alfaq, which means, magic squares.
Yeah.
You're familiar with magic squares, things like that, right? Magic squares are the foundation of modern computing.
Yes.
But we were teaching magic squares into children.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's literally the origin of calculus, differential equations, all these things, right? We didn't call it magic squares or whatever. We called it mathematics.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those just numbers.
Later, when NASA recruited a lot of the African-American women to do all the science,
Correct.
they called them computers before computers even existed.
They called them computers.
Yeah.
That's a fact.
Yeah, they're working with the magic squares.
There's an individual, yes, there's an individual up in upstate New York, in Troy, New York, Rensselaer Polytechnic College. His name is Ron Eglash. He's the head of mathematics up there. He wrote a book, you probably have heard of it, called African Fractals.
Of course.
Okay, there you go. So we brought him out to speak a few times, and he spoke about how he was initiated by the Dogon tribe, because he went out there in Mali and was like, look, I want to learn your mathematics. They're like, no.
Man.
They're like, no, it's too dangerous. They're like, he was like, no. And he's writing equations in the sand. They brushed it like, are you out of your mind?
About that, yes. They were like, no, that's sacred.
You can't do that.
I know.
But I want to explain on your show why.
Yeah.
So he said, to get them to change their mind, he said, there is a contingency of your family in America that want nothing to do with mathematics. And it hurt them. It shocked them. So they said, okay, but we have to initiate you first. This is it, right? In the West, we agree that mathematics is a universal language.
Yeah.
Everything speaks language of mathematics, but nobody can verbalize what 5 is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Nobody can tell me what 3 is. You can't tell me, right? So in the West, we only know the quantitative function of number.
That's right.
But our forefathers taught quantitative and qualitative function. The numbers are living things. Just to speak the number and to put numbers together, you are tickling the fibers of creation at a quantum level and causing real things to happen. That's why they said, are you out of your mind? Are you crazy?
Yeah.
You can't do that.
The language of God is mathematics.
Yes, it is.
That's the language. That's what God speaks. God speaks mathematics.
That's fact.
And I don't care what planet you're on throughout the known universe.
That's right.
If you have evolved enough to understand and learn mathematics, you can communicate with anywhere.
Anywhere. To your point. So the Quran, I forgot the individual's name. I think it's Khalifa, I think. But it's not hard to find. This brother made public the fact that the Arabic Quran is written based on a mathematical code of the number 19. Well, they unalived him for that.
Right.
Fast forward to the early 90s. Richard Hoagland, are you familiar with?
Oh, yeah.
Richard Hoagland does a series of lectures at the United Nations on what they found in the Cydonia region of Mars.
Right.
And so it wasn't the face, that was the big deal. It was southwest of the face. Yes, you got it. So you got the D&M pyramid, which is a pentagonal pyramid, and all these other things. But there was a mathematical redundancy, which shows intelligent design. That mathematical redundancy was the number 19.5.
That's right.
And so that led him to say, well, what was so significant about 19.5? That led him to a group of mathematicians, theoretical mathematicians. They experiment with multiple dimensions mathematically on paper. They're called topologists. And so they said, if you have a sphere, right, that existed in multiple dimensions, you would know because there'd be an outwelling of energy into there'd be a 3D shadow that lets you know that something's happening in higher dimensions. And you would see it, an outwelling of energy at 19.5 degrees opposite of the pole.
That's right.
Mount Kilauea in Hawaii, greater sunspot activity on the sun, the Great Red Spot on Jupiter. The list goes on, right?
The Great Pyramid, and put it inside the Earth.
Yes, there it is, 19.5, right there at the base points. Exactly. So it's crazy. So, but then even crazier, he said that the topologist said there'd be an inwelling of energy at the pole, opposite of 19.5, and you would know it because of the hexagonal shape.
That's right, top of Saturn.
Exactly. And so we now, and Richard Hoagland said this back then, that we have physical evidence of at least one of our planets being a stargate.
That's right.
At least one. Now, let's take this further into ancient science. Why we have 7 days of the week. Why there's 7 chakras in the body. And a chakra is a wheel or a sphere. And each one of those chakras is aligned to a planet. Why in the ancient religious doctrines there were 7 archons that the Hebrews call Elohim. You see? There it is right there. It's not religious dogma, it's ancient technology. You know what I mean? It's amazing stuff. Amazing stuff.
Mind blowing.
Yes.
You go back to talking about what happened in Germany with the potential ultra-terrestrials.
Yes.
And how, these people were developing these technologies that were just mind-blowing, which led to a whole thing with America really trying to captivate and capture these scientists.
You're speaking about Operation Paperclip.
Yeah.
Operation Paperclip. I mean, we don't have to, speak to...
I just got paid $60,000 for my car crash from using this app on my phone. And I don't know if you could see this, but it's called the Case Connect Compensation Calculator.
The moral issues, people, we leave that to the audience. But literal days after the declared end of the Civil War, you have the United States government spiriting over Nazi scientists. Right? And that's how we gained the lead in the space race.
That's exactly it.
But even bigger, and you already know about this. You've spoken about this before. One of the lead scientists that they brought, Werner von Braun. Werner von Braun was working on breakaway civilization. So there's the space race that we know of. And then there's the secret space program that's basically the foundation of breakaway civilizations,
right? That
we don't know of.
And they asked him, "How did you guys build all this stuff?" They said, "We had help."
We had help, and he planned. Yes. One of my mentors is you know who he is, Alan Greenfield. So Alan, I've known Alan since the 90s. As a matter of fact, it was through Alan that I gained access to a number of these more secret orders. It was through Alan.
Wow.
And so Alan is the one that told me about that interview with Werner von Braun where he said that. Yes.
Crazy.
It's insane.
Flat out said it.
Yes, he did.
And they developed these Haunebu craft, these flying discs. They did mount gun turrets on them and things like that. But Haunebu 1, Haunebu 2,
yes, sir.
Haunebu 3, and I believe even Haunebu 4. Now, it was rumored that after the end of the war, that some of these Nazis escaped on Haunebu 4 to Antarctica. And maybe some even went somewhere else. But
right. So now you're touching on the whole thing with Admiral Byrd.
Yes.
In that situation, that's incredible. And whether people want to believe it or not, and look into it or not is irrelevant. Think about the whole history or the story about Admiral Byrd in Antarctica, and then think about the present Treaty of Antarctica today. Why is there a Treaty of Antarctica with that? If you want to go there, you have to sign it, and you have to sign off on. You can't,
gag order.
The gag order.
Can't say anything.
Can't say anything about what you see down there.
And all those bases from all those countries are around this opening that's about 30 meters wide. And the only research team that's down there that is not a country is the Rockefeller Foundation.
Isn't that something?
Yeah. They're down here. They're running a part of it. And Admiral Byrd, this is a decorated admiral in the U.S. Navy. Went down there with a lot of ships, a fleet of ships.
Right.
And some of those ships got destroyed by some of these flying craft. And he made a press statement saying that we are confronted with a new enemy, one that can fly pole to pole with incredible speed.
That's right. That's what he said.
They sent him back to America with his tail between his legs.
That's right. Sure did. And then he gets back, of course, he's debriefed, you know, his diary. Hey, took that. And they're like, look, yeah, you're not talking about this.
Yeah, they don't say nothing else.
That's right.
And people think that Project Paperclip was when, you know, we went over to, of course, Germany and we took these scientists, but it wasn't just a few scientists.
That's a fact.
They took close to 2,000 Nazis.
That's a fact.
Some of them ended up in the CIA, in the head controlling areas of the CIA. Right? FBI.
You brought it up. I wasn't going to say it. Yeah, that's right.
Started creating 3-letter agencies for these guys.
That's literally created 3-letter agencies.
Crazy.
Isn't that something?
And put them in control and power. So in a way, America became the Fourth Reich.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. See, brother, you got courage. So you know what? that just amped me up. Good. Okay. So yes, that's correct. That is correct. And that's very accurate to say. It really, really is. You know, it may ruffle some feathers, but that's accurate to say, you know. Now, for me, it's like, it's like when you have children and they lie to you or they hide something. You find out they're hiding, you know, okay, why?
Yeah.
What is it that you're hiding? What is it that you don't want me to know?
Yeah.
Why are you going through so much? And they're going through a lot to hide something. In my opinion, this is my opinion, based on my research, based on my study, based on my experiences, and just based on just what seems the vital nerve to the status quo. The mystery of the intelligence behind the UAP phenomenon and the mystery of the real identity of the quote-unquote African American are tied together.
Yeah, absolutely.
I brought him out to, I brought him to Syracuse, New York, back in the late 90s. The late William Cooper.
Wow, Bill Cooper.
Yes.
Wow.
I brought him out. He stayed a week.
Wow.
Yeah, and he wouldn't fly.
Yeah.
He took a train all the way from Northern California.
Damn.
And I asked him, dude, we'll pay for the flight. Why? He goes, because if they want to take me out, I don't want to be responsible for everybody else on the plane.
Right.
That's exactly what he said.
Nice. They took him out anyway.
Oh, they got him anyway.
Yeah.
And the way in which they did, I talked to his wife. She told me the day after. And I'll speak to her. I'll share that. But he said this. In the book, especially in the chapter on the secret government, at the very end of it, in The Behold the Pale Horse, he says, that's very possible that all the stuff I said about aliens isn't even true. It's what they wanted me to say. He goes, but regardless, the technology is real. And so when we spoke to him that week and we asked him about that, he was convinced. He said, yeah, what they told us about aliens is not real. He goes, we're not saying that they're not aliens or that they doesn't exist. He says, what we were told isn't real. He said this. He said, we said, then what is it then?
Yeah.
He said, there's what we have that we're struggling to come to parity with what they have. I said, who's the they?
Yeah.
He said, an unknown reality.
Wow.
And that's all he would say. That's all he would say. He said an unknown reality.
Yeah.
You see? And so, again, speaking to what a little man from Sandersville, Georgia, with a 4th grade education was teaching his followers in Detroit, Michigan, and in Chicago in the 30s on a chalkboard. He said, no, these aren't aliens. These are human beings.
Wow.
These are human beings. He was teaching in the 30s, and the FBI, when they raided, they took the whole chalkboard.
Damn.
Yeah.
Sound like that.
Yeah, they took the whole chalkboard.
And I believe it, because in my TV series, Anunnaki Ancient Secrets Revealed.
Come on now.
I talk about this war that started in the Pleiades.
Yes.
And that this being, this form that we're in, this bilateral bipedal hominid, 2 forward-looking eyes, hands that can manipulate the environment, this is the structure that I believe that permeates the universe and even in other dimensions. Like, this is a form that has the capability to build a ship, to create technologies like portals and stargates that can open up and take you places. A whale is 10,000 times smarter than a human being, but they don't have these.
Isn't that something, brother? That's so big what you're saying, because there's been a number of whistleblowers that were part of, or purport to be part of certain special access programs that spoke exactly to that. They said, we've seen, dealt with, done autopsies on, etc., interacted with various types of aliens. So, but the predominant form, and there's different forms, of course, but the predominant form is the 5-star form.
Yeah.
2 arms, 2 legs, and a head.
Vitruvian man.
And that, yes. And so from our perspective in the Moorish Science Temple of America, right?
This is what Jared looked like before he went through our superhuman program. And if you didn't notice, he's an amputee without a leg. He was completely out of shape and was...
When in religious dogma, when it says heavens and earth, we're not talking about the specific planet Earth. We're talking about 3-dimensional space-time.
Right.
So no matter where you are in 3-dimensional space-time, you get it?
Yeah.
If you see the 5-star shape, we can call that humanity.
Exactly.
So we have to expand even our thoughts on what humanity is.
Yeah, that's real.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's real.
Man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So real. And you know, some of these ultra-terrestrials, people in higher dimensions, they could show up in the ancient past. They show up in Dendera at the Temple of Hathor, and these Hathors, according to the ancient Egyptians, they were elementals.
Yes.
And so they were multidimensional beings that would nudge and influence mankind in particular directions. And they were also in charge of these birthing chambers to help the replication and duplication of mankind, to what end I don't really fully truly understand. I've tried to understand it completely, but it wasn't just about being a slave. It was more to it than that.
Yes.
But when you look at a movie like Interstellar,
yes,
you know, and the guy, his ship breaks apart and he falls into the Tesseract.
That's right.
Hypercube.
That's right.
And he can see his daughter in different rooms. It gives you a really good understanding of what we're talking about. Higher dimensional, being able to see the past, present, and future at once.
When you first saw the movie Interstellar, did you feel like you were being initiated?
Oh man, for real.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, this is just connecting every dot, confirmation. You know, it was just like, wow, okay, I see now. I've been talking about the Tesseract for over 10 years before I saw it.
Exactly. So you brought up Hathor. Huge.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with he was a real live Indiana Jones? His name was Sir Flinders Petrie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. So in 1901, well, let's go back.
Yeah.
The book of Exodus. Moses, you already know who I'm talking about. Moses, right, kills the Egyptian soldier on the run, goes to Mount Horeb, meets his future father-in-law, right, Lord Jethro, goes up on top of Mount Horeb and gets initiated, right? He meets the God of the Lord of the burning bush, in the Hebrew, El Shaddai, Lord of the mountain, right? And in later years, or in a later time, bring the children of Israel to the same foot of that same mountains and back up there again.
Yeah.
Okay.
To get his tablets.
While he's up there, the Hebrews are like, oh man, is he coming back? Oh, Aaron goes, look, what do you want me to do? We need something to worship. He builds a golden calf, right? And then Moses comes down off the mountain. He's angry with them, burns the golden calf, strews it on the water, and makes them drink. You already know where we're going with this. So fast forward to 1901, 1903, Sinai Peninsula. Sir Flinders Petrie is up on top of the ancient Mount Horeb.
Yeah.
It's now called
Mount Sinai?
Serabit al-Qadim.
Oh, Serabit al-Qadim.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he finds an ancient Egyptian temple dedicated to the goddess Hathor. Of course, her emblem is what? Golden calf.
That's right.
That's her emblem, right? And all kinds of hieroglyphic references to stone and bread.
Yeah.
Shamana or mana, right? Huge vats filled with what he thought was a white ash.
Yeah.
But you know what it was.
It's this gold.
That's right. That's right. Exactly.
Atomic gold.
That's what it was. And so they were that temple was literally a manufacturing plant. And it solved the mystery as to why other nations, right, were bringing their metal gold there, and then later to King Solomon.
Yeah.
You know, and so exactly. So we're talking high level technology in ancient time.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
They knew how to take care of this animated avatar.
Come on.
You know, they knew how to take care of it. They understood that it was technology.
It was technology. Yeah. And so you've got, John Rayhart, for instance, today, who's just an egghead physicist. That's all he is. He's not really a spiritual guy.
Yeah.
But he's explaining these things. He's like, wait a minute. Okay, so monoatomic gold or M-state elements.
Yeah.
Right? You know, when I first learned about this from the late Lawrence Gardner, that's where I first learned about it about 12 years ago. And I said, oh, man. And so I've been researching it for that long.
Yeah.
And my whole thing, because, you know, being a Qigong instructor, you know, and we teach medical Qigong, or, you know, whatever. My whole thing is there's got to be room temperature superconductivity capabilities in biological systems.
Yeah.
In people. We have to, it has to be. And I was pestering Hal Puthoff for like over a year about it. And he was like, oh, yeah, possibly, maybe, right? I come across John Rayhart, and then I learn about David Bohm, and I learn about Mae Wan Ho.
Yeah.
I mentioned it to him, and he goes, oh, yeah, I met her once. I'm like, you could have told me that a year ago. But he wanted me to put the work in, so I really appreciate it. But anyway, John Rayhart is speaking about how M-state elements in the body connect and interface the physical 3D body with the higher body on the implicate order. You know, in other words, what religious teaching says, the soul body.
Right.
The higher body, right?
Your higher self.
Why? Thank you, brother. So, you know, prior to the realization of this, classical biology would say, well, our cells repair themselves because of information from the DNA. Sometimes DNA repairs itself.
That's right.
Where does it get its instruction from?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
From the ether.
There you go. And so M-state elements, right? You know, as you already know, you know, I'll say for the audience, let's take an M-state element is an element that, let's take gold. You have a gold atom. It has, you know, its electrons all orbiting in their own orbit. But then when you act upon it with a high energy system like electric arc for a period of time, it causes the nucleus to elongate like a cat's iris and then flex so that the electrons form what they call a Cooper pairing. When this happens, they all rotate in the same direction, hence the term monoatomic.
Yep.
But when that happens, the metal-to-metal bonds fall apart. So you have pure gold, but it's no longer a metal.
Yeah.
It's a powder.
Yeah.
The atoms are individual, and it forms what's called a Compton radius vortex. Compton radius vortex is the smallest thing with mass that can exist in 3 dimensions. But it's called a Compton radius vortex because it's a miniature wormhole. It's a miniature wormhole, right? So it is a direct interface between 3 dimensions and higher dimensions.
Right.
Direct interface, and it exists right in the human body.
It's right here.
It's right here.
Local.
And back to our point about transhumanism, yeah, having machines and tech attached to the body, that's cool. We don't need it.
Yeah.
We just need methodology and discipline. Methodology and practice. That's it.
The practice is one of the biggest things that's missing. Yeah, but before we get to the practice, you got to believe you have the power.
That's got to start there.
Yeah.
Because again, as we said, the quantum operator is that. You know, there was a very, very, very powerful but little known occultist in America who the whole occult world, the Western occult tradition, credits this man with giving the Western occult and esoteric tradition its deepest secrets. And he was a brother by the name of Pascal Beverly Randolph. That was him, P.B. Randolph. And so he said in one of his books, we declare the omnipotence of human will.
I love that.
That's what he said.
That's a prayer.
Yes, it is.
That's a prayer.
It really is. It really is. It really is.
Demanding that reality.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We say in our religious tradition, we call it the everlasting gospel. We call it the gospel of the omnipotence of man. See, we don't believe in a religious faith that separates you from your creator.
Right.
We don't believe in that. We say God is closer to you than your jugular vein.
Boom. I love it.
Simple, you know?
Inhabiting every cell in the body, inhabiting every atom in the body.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
I was studying atoms, and of course I was studying DNA.
Yes.
When I got through with the DNA, I realized that you could store data and information on DNA in a volume, right?
Something.
And so 1 gram of DNA can store 433 petabytes of data. Wild. So something like my cell phone can store everything that exists in the known world could fit on this cell phone, and all the information and all the rotations, the spin rates, everything about everything that exists on the planet can fit in this cell phone.
Isn't that crazy?
If I made it into a molecular hard drive.
So God, you know, The Creator isn't extravagant.
Yeah.
There's a reason why we have that much power.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And the information's in us.
Thank you, brother. Even with, here we go, the average woman, right, produces anywhere from 300 to 500 eggs in a lifetime. They have that many children?
Yeah. No.
The average male, one ejaculation, if each sperm fertilized an egg, would repopulate the entire United States.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, we have that power for another reason. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have that power for a totally different reason, not just to make children, definitely not just to waste indiscriminately.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true that we're co-creators.
Period. We're above the archons.
Yes.
We're above, although we were made a little bit below.
Yeah.
Right? Like in the book of Genesis. Right? In the book of Genesis, you know, what did the Elohim say? After the Adam and Eve ate the fruit, behold, the man has become like one of us.
Right. Yeah. We rose. We ascended.
So you know what we got to do?
Yeah.
Get him up out of here.
Yeah.
That's not punishment.
Right. Right.
Just like when I become 18, I'm old school, it's 2025, right?
Yeah.
But
that net.
Right. But, you know, I turn 18, I expect dinner to be made, my clothes washed, I come home, my fork is bent, plate's broken, my bags are packed.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
Yeah, I think it might be punishment. It's
Yeah.
not. That's a celebration.
Yeah.
I elevate it.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Yes.
That's a lot of people don't see, they don't understand. But that's where it's at.
That's where it was at.
Understanding that our mission here is to become an ascended master.
Period.
To rise out and continue to grow spiritually, and the process never really ends. You just keep going and going and going.
We say that. We say new level, new devil, right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
And again, to that point, like in the book of Genesis, the way, again, there's without a foe, a soldier never knows his strength. You need the ops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The ops is your help me.
Yeah.
Right? So the way was mistranslated, for instance, in the book of Genesis, in the Garden of Eden, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. The word translated or mistranslated to good is the word tov in Aramaic, and the word for evil is ra. Tov doesn't mean good. It's simply that. Tov means to make stagnant, to make still, to make immovable. Ra means to stir up, to agitate, to cause motion.
Gotcha.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what's really good and what's okay? See, stagnation brings decay. Stagnation brings retardation.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Entropy.
And so that through that mistranslation, the whole Western world has been taught to run from the very thing that would elevate you.
Yeah.
Hence, I want the beach body, so I'll just take this pill because somebody advertised it at 3 a.m. while I'm half asleep, eating a bag of chips.
Exactly.
Instead of get up at 5:30 and go jog around the block.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
And so it's like the whole, we're so messed up in our thinking.
Yeah.
The movie Frankenstein, we think that the name Frankenstein was the name of the monster. That was the name of the doctor.
That was the name of the doctor.
You know what I'm saying? That was the doctor's name. And what did he do? Made a monster and ran from the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
That's us.
Yeah, just another metaphor.
Yes.
Another metaphor for reality and what we're dealing with. Talk about the Nicene Council.
When you were dealing with we were watching, and you were dealing with this West Huff situation.
Yeah.
And so I'm a martial artist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it not just is every aspect of combat.
Right.
More importantly, strategy and tactics.
Yes.
Right. So we were looking like, that's our brother. And he starts, and then we hit him. We're like, wait a minute. Here's the obvious thing. He's defending Christianity. His Christianity began in Rome.
That's right.
It didn't begin in Jerusalem.
No.
It did. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's the vital nerve, right? There's the vital nerve. Most of us, again, thinking within a box that we didn't create. You say Christianity, we say, the teachings of Jesus.
Right.
Nope.
No.
No.
Not even close.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close. What we call Christianity today does not have a monopoly on Jesus.
No.
Jesus didn't teach Christianity.
No.
As a matter of fact, the book of Acts in the Bible says they were first called Christians in Antioch, Greece, and it was a slight.
Yeah.
It was a slander to say that. That's what it was. Yeah. So he didn't teach Christianity.
Yeah.
What happened was that Rome flipped and bounced, chopped and screwed the story of Jesus.
Yeah.
And I want to touch on why that was important to do that, because it was preeminently important. But the foundation of Christianity began in Rome, and more specifically with Emperor Constantine and his mother, Empress Helena.
That's right.
That's where it began. And they chopped and screwed the teachings of Jesus. The whole idea of Jesus being a virgin.
Yeah, fabricated.
And unmarried.
Fabricated.
The whole idea of him being the physical son of a spirit God. Those were political decisions made at the Nicene Council.
That's right.
And that's it. They were political decisions made at the Nicene Council. The Christian landmarks in Jerusalem were handpicked by Constantine's mother, Empress Helena. They're not real.
That's coming out of your mouth now.
They're not real.
Yeah.
They're not real. West Health, we could talk about it.
Yeah.
You know that, but they're not real.
Yeah.
And that's just the truth. See, it's just the truth. But the Nicene Council is the foundation, not just of what we call Christianity today. The Nicene Council set the foundation stones for the present Western world narrative.
Correct.
That we live under.
That's right.
That is the key thing. It shaped the worldview that we were mentally enslaved to.
Yeah.
You see? So that, if no other reason, there's many others, but if for no other reason, that's what makes the teachings of Prophet Noble Drew Ali and the Moorish Science Temple of America, organizations like the Nation of Islam, because you're talking about a decolonized narrative, a decolonized worldview. That's the thing. You see? You know, Jesus. Okay, why is the story of Jesus so important? So you're familiar with Carl Jung?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, archetypal, psychology. And psychology, and especially in the West, was developed as a search for evidence of the human soul, right? Okay. So in other words, a search for evidence of what David Bohm, Rupert Sheldrake, and Maywan Ho gave scientific evidence to the fact of through quantum physics. There you go. The evidence of a higher self. Right. So thought, we teach in the Moorish Science Temple of America, thinking, understanding, reasoning, and willing. Call these not the soul. They're its actions and not its essence. But guess what? They're proof of its existence. So the fact that you're thinking means that you have activity on a higher dimension. That's very simple, but very amazing to contemplate. Now, I say that to say this. Carl Jung developed what's called archetypal psychology, as you already know. In other words, he did his little sabbatical, just like Descartes did. Right? Descartes thinking. He goes, wait a minute, I'm thinking. Cogito ergo sum, right? I think, therefore I am, right? So he did a similar sabbatical and then came up with the conclusion, there are constructs in my mind that are not of my making. Ooh. In other words, we have patterns so deeply embedded in the human psyche that they govern and direct human activity, even though we're not aware of them.
Exactly.
Right. So think about it. Anyone who's aware of these patterns and can manipulate them, they run the world.
Yes.
They run the world. So why is the story of Jesus so important? One of the deepest patterns in human psyche, no matter where you are, is what happens after you die? That question. The story of Jesus, whether you believe it historically, whether you don't believe it historically, whether it's whatever, is irrelevant. The story of Jesus answers the question. The story of Jesus is so important because the story of Jesus represents the next stage in human evolution.
Exactly.
And so whoever controls that controls the world.
They control the world. You saw it in that movie with Denzel Washington.
Yes.
Right? That movie called
Book of Eli.
The book.
That's right.
The bad guy in that movie, he knew that if he can just find one Bible.
Just one Bible.
And take the narrative of Jesus.
There you go.
He can read now, the world was going to be probably after the post-apocalyptic situation they had, but he would then retake control of the planet and the people's minds through the dogma.
That's exactly it, man. That's exactly it. So
open a Chime checking account in 2 minutes. We'll spot you up to $200. Apply now.
I love you like la 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 la. I love you like la 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 la.
we teach For instance, in our religious tradition, the More Science Simple America, we say there is no failure for the human soul. For Allah's leading on and victory is sure. In other words, everybody's going to get there.
I love it.
Sooner or later.
Yeah, I love it.
Everybody's going to get there.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And we see man and Allah are one. While Allah lives, man cannot die.
Yes.
It forces such a huge change in narrative that it's a paradigm shift. We can no longer think that we have to get rid of the thinking that the departure of our soul and spirit from our flesh is death.
Yes. Two separate things.
Thank you.
The avatar body, the biological material robot, machinery, that will then be reabsorbed into the universe.
Come on.
And recycled.
Come on. That's right.
It doesn't even die.
Come on. Now, you're talking science or religion? Yes. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? Exactly. That's it. You know, there is no, the Rosicrucian tradition teaches about a separation of religion and science, but an eventual remerging in the understanding of the masses. See, the enlightened, whether good or evil, already know that there's no separation.
There's none.
They already know, and they take advantage of it. They exploit it. They exploit it to, our ignorance.
Yeah.
Fear. Yes.
Once they put the fear in you, they can mold you, bend you, twist you, contort you.
Yes.
They can make you believe the most craziest thing.
Evil is easy.
Very easy.
Yeah. Evil is easy. We say, like we talked about the mistranslation of good and evil, the tree of knowledge of good and evil. We're taught that good is ease.
Yeah.
We're taught that evil is agitation. No. Agitation brings growth and development.
Right.
Ease brings stagnation and death.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's too easy.
Yeah.
We say when men fear Allah and take him for a foe, they dress up fancy men in fancy garbs and call them priests. Today we say politicians.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? In other words, you think for me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
You think for me, and whoever's most popular, that's who I'm rocking with.
Yep.
It's crazy.
I'm gonna go with the clout.
Isn't that something?
Clout.
And that's right. So when your situation with Wes Huff, at a particular point, he sounded like Charlie, to those who know better.
Right.
He sounded like Charlie Brown's school teacher.
Yes. Wow.
Exactly. That's what he sounded like, and then some people pointed it out. Like, no. The very thing you tried to accuse our brother of, you did.
Yeah. People got to understand that we are already eternal.
Come on, brother.
And when they understand that this corporeal body is going to be reabsorbed into the universe and all the atoms will be recycled as they have been done for eons.
Yes.
We ourselves, our higher self, our spiritual being will reconnect with our higher self. It's just a frequency that reabsorbs into the higher mass frequency.
Yes.
And like you say, since God is eternal, that means we are eternal.
We are eternal.
And we cannot die because God is not going to die.
The fall of man from a quantum physics perspective is the collapsing of human consciousness from non-locality to locality.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly.
That's it.
Exactly what it is.
That's it. And as you mentioned, we teach in our tradition, man is not the body or the soul. Man's spirit and part of God. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
It's actually simple.
It is simple, but as Aleister Crowley said, he said it this way. This is deep because it sounds so much. Wow. He said it like this, and he gave in one of his books, he talked about the definition of magic, scientific definition of magic. He said, the definition of magic is to cause change in conformity to one's will. He said the proper magical formula from going from one room to another is turning a doorknob.
Boom.
He said, but to our simple minds, he says, to will anything other than the supreme will is to fall further away from it.
Wow.
He said, but to our complex minds, such a simple act is near impossible. Hence, training and practice is necessary. But then he took it a step further. We're talking about the will thing. He said, most people don't have a will. They only have a set of wishes.
Yeah, exactly.
One contradicts the other, and at death, they cancel each other out.
Boom. I hope I will. One day I might. I think I will.
Right.
Maybe I can.
Right. Will is like, as opposed to a wish is like, will is like when you see your wife for the first time and you're like, yeah, she's mine.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
It never occurs to you that no other option occurs to you. That's will. But that's a focus. That takes effort. That takes, in many cases, it takes training. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Facts.
They have to put the work in. But what you said again back about we were talking about the Nicene Council. That is such a huge point in history that our people need to know and study.
Yeah.
So they can understand the type of thinking we've been
programmed with.
There you go. There's the word, programmed with. We've been programmed to think a particular way. So, and because you're programmed to think in a particular fashion, it doesn't matter what you know. It doesn't matter what you know.
Yeah.
You can get right information, but you have the wrong perspective and wrong narrative.
Exactly.
So you'll kick it out just like the Smithsonian Institution did with all kinds of artifacts.
Oh, yeah. But did not fit the narrative. Put away all the artifacts from Egypt that was in the Grand Canyon.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
It's because it didn't fit the narrative. It didn't fit the narrative of isolationism, and so, and it didn't fit the narrative, so we're going to get rid of it.
Exactly.
And that's what we end up doing psychologically. We've got people that look like you and me that'll see a pyramid on the back of a dollar bill and call it satanic.
Right.
Build pyramids. What are you talking about? That's inquisitionist thinking.
Yeah, that's inquisition. They've been programmed. And it's through the epigenetic memories passed down 15 to 20 generations more in their own body, their ancestors calling out to them, denying them from really grabbing onto their true birthright.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
That's so big right there, what you just said. It's and even that, if we follow the bouncing ball, okay, man can't die. Why? Because man's not this.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then some of my old relatives that are no longer here in the flesh, they're not dead. Right. Which means what? I could probably communicate with them. Yes. Now it's just methodology.
Right.
That's
exactly
it. The methodology, practice.
That's it.
That's it,
man.
Now we're getting closer to what our forefathers did.
Yeah.
Jesus recording the saying, greater things will you do in my name, right? We say, Prophet Noble Drew Ali said it this way. He said, that the world may hear and know the truth, that amongst the descendants of the inhabitants of Africa, there's still much wisdom to be learned. So wait a minute. Our forefathers built pyramids back then. You mean we're going to do bigger and greater things than that?
Bigger and greater.
Ain't that something?
Yeah.
Because it took a mindset and a narrative and a way of thinking to produce that. What would we rather have? The object that was produced or the mindset that produced it?
Right.
I want the mindset.
I want the mindset.
That's right.
That's what I want. I get
exactly.
All day long.
All day long, man. Yeah. That's what I want. I want the mindset.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. This is a beautiful conversation because again, we're exercising even in the dialogue that religion and science, true religion,
go together,
and true science. So there's a term that I learned a number of years ago called scientism.
Okay.
Right? So the very thing about even the teachings of Jesus being colonized and flipped, same thing happened with science. The same thing happened with science. So it's called scientism, meaning it's limited to just my five senses.
Yeah.
But wait a minute, the whole idea of science is to go from the known to the unknown.
If you don't tap into the unknown, you'll never get new answers.
Right. So scientism the scientism has hijacked the narrative of science in the West.
Yeah.
If I can't see, taste, hear, touch, feel it, it doesn't exist.
Exactly.
Well, what does that mean? That means that I can't know anything beyond what I can taste, smell, hear, feel, touch.
Yeah. And all those are just sensing frequencies.
That's all they are.
And human beings can only see less than 1% of the light spectrum.
Come on, brother.
We don't even know what's around us, what's all in us, around us, and everywhere going on. So many things are going on right now.
Right at this moment, brother. To your point, see, that's such a powerful point you bring up. I talk about this all the time, with a number of my members and students. That on your shoes, that red part on the heel.
Yeah.
Why is it red?
Yeah.
It's red, and we learned this in grade school. It's red because there's a substance in it that absorbs every other frequency except red and reflects that back reflects the frequency
back to
the optic nerve,
Yes.
which then sends the transmission to my brain, and my brain interprets it as red. What does that mean? It means it's only red in here.
That's it.
That's it. It's not red out there.
It's an illusion. It's a hologram.
It's up there. You go. It's only red in here. So we teach in our organization, in the Sufi order I'm in, we teach that that the world, the outer world, is nothing more than the expanding inner perception.
That's it.
That's all it is.
All it is.
And that's literal science.
Yeah.
But it's frightening
Right.
because we've been socialized to think
Yeah.
the opposite.
Complete opposite. Time, the human brain is encased in darkness. It doesn't know anything that's going on in the outside.
Nothing.
But it has friends, the five senses.
There you go.
Seeing, taste, touch, smell, right?
Yes.
And so it sends the friends out, says, hey, go grab me some data so that I can figure out what's going on. The friends go out, they touch, they smell, they hear, they taste, they see, but they don't even know how to decipher the information.
Correct.
They transmit the data back to the brain, which is encased in darkness. And then the brain projects a hologram as to what it thinks is going on in the outside.
That's literally what's happening.
And you navigate through that,
You navigate through your own hologram.
That's it. Literally.
You navigate through your own hologram.
Yeah.
Isn't that something? Now that being said, there's limits there's borders to your perception.
Yeah, there's parameters.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, our objective is to expand. We call it in our religious organization, raise your thoughts to infinite wisdom. Raise the vibration, right? In the Sufi order, we say our objective is to expand our perception without cracking the psyche in the process.
I love that.
See, because that can happen. You know, you could venture out there a little too far and end up, in the rubber room.
Yeah, I know.
With the wraparound sleeve.
I've seen some people already go keep.
Yes, sir.
And they ended up in the got Baker acted.
Yes, and so that is like, for instance, in true initiatory bodies, which include authentic religious organizations, right? You have a mythos. You're initiated into a mythos. You're initiated into a different worldview.
Yeah.
What that does, and I mentioned this the first time you and I appeared on Brother Rich's show, right brain knows everything. Right brain's connected to the universe.
Yeah.
Left brain is the filter. Left brain says, can I use this? If I can't, it's gone. If I can, cool, I use it, right? So a new mythos restructures left brain to allow more right brain data. That's the idea of initiation.
That's it.
Expand your perception. That's it. That's why in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. You've already been put in a jail cell.
Yes.
Because it says in the beginning, and there's no such thing to a circle.
Yeah, exactly. There's no
exactly. Right.
We're in a loop.
Yes.
There's no beginning or end.
Right. That's why in our religious doctrine, the very first statement, time never was when man was not. Break you out of it.
Yeah.
And then the second chapter, we measure time in cycle ages.
Yeah, that's right.
You see?
The Indians call them yuga cycles.
Yuga cycles. Right. Right. We've been here before. We've been here before. Matter of fact, Oppenheimer, the lead scientist on the Manhattan Project, spoke to this very thing when they detonated the first nuclear explosion, their first nuclear explosion. I have to say their first because Mohenjo-Daro was thousands of years before. Exactly.
Blast in the ancient past in Pakistan.
And so you've got, an individual wrote him a letter saying, yes, congratulations.
When your kid is hurting and there's nothing you can do about it.
But this ain't the first time this was done.
Yeah.
An individual actually wrote him about this.
Yes. He even quoted something from the Mahabharata.
Sure did. Kali, the goddess Kali, behold, I have become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Yeah.
Yes. That means he knew some things.
He knew.
Yes.
He's in that ancient text.
That's right. Yeah. He was in the ancient text, which goes back again to this high technology, which again, you know already. It's ancient tech.
Yeah.
Above top secret is ancient technology.
All of it is.
It's ancient technology. When you can look at the Avestas and the Avesta and the Vedas and read about Vimana and Velixi, and right down to where there's a description of propulsion systems.
Yeah, you see the ferrofluid vortex engine right in the ancient Indian Vedas.
Exactly.
I mean, it's like, okay. And the flight plans.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Come on, like what you...
It's supposed to be trying to figure out how they're going to get food for the night, but somebody sits down and says, I think I'm going to take the night off and write this sci-fi movie.
Right.
Thousands of years ago.
Yes.
Based on real quantum physics.
Real physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't... Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
so.
It's insane stuff. But again, it all goes against the present narrative that we've been indoctrinated into.
Yeah.
So even when, I know you've run into it in your travels and in your teaching and in lecturing, where you're showing people book, chapter, verse evidence, and they're just going, because their mind can't stretch because they're stuck in the narrative.
Yeah. Well, I'll be talking to somebody and I'll be going beyond the biblical text age. So now I'm going into ancient text.
Come on.
But they can only communicate to me from the biblical level text because that's as far as their brain has ever gone.
Right. But even to your point, and you brought this up before, for instance, the story of Noah, right? That didn't happen 4,000, 5,000 years ago. It was 10 to 12,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 10 to 12,000 years.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And now we have archaeological evidence. We're not talking about some physical ark somewhere. We're talking about sediment layers, from the lesser or greater Dryas period. Younger Dryas. That's it. Thank you. 10 to 12,000 years ago of a deluge.
Yeah.
But it's undeniable. Yeah. But you're talking about it. So it even pushes back Bishop Ussher's time. 4004 BC. You can't be serious.
Yeah, I know.
The
numbers that they've come up with are just ridiculous.
It is. Yeah. And again with the whole West Huff situation. The vital nerve for West Huff is him having to defend what was invented by Emperor Constantine, knowing that the majority of people believe it to be authentic teachings of Jesus.
Right.
All we have to do is introduce the authentic teachings of Jesus.
That's it.
All we got to do is talk about his 13 years in India.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
what he learned there. Right.
They don't want to talk about his time spent in Egypt.
Come on, brother. His 5 years in Heliopolis? Yeah. I won't talk about that.
No.
Exactly.
And the fact that the Bible picks up and says, I called my son out of Egypt. Leading credence to the fact that, Jesus was in Egypt.
He was in Egypt.
Getting that knowledge.
That's right. That's right. In our, again, one of the jewels in our faith tradition is that a huge part of our study is those 18 missing years. That's a huge part of our study is those 18 missing years. He's sponsored at age 12 to go to India, and the things that he read and the things that he did, and then back in Egypt, and then is accepted in Heliopolis. John.
Well documented.
It's documented. John, his cousin, is accepted at Saqqara.
That's right.
You see, it's...
Yeah,
it changes everything.
Yeah,
it changes everything. For especially for us, for the masses, it forces a change in narrative. It forces a change in narrative. Now we have to look at these things different.
Yeah,
got to look at the story of Jesus different. Got to look at why, its importance and its significance.
Yeah,
different.
Totally different.
Yes, sir.
As Yoda said in Star Wars, you must unlearn.
You must unlearn and relearn. And also to quote Yoda again, right? Funny thing of Yoda. To quote him again, he said, luminous beings are we.
That's right.
Not just crude flesh.
Not just crude flesh.
Yeah.
Everything is connected. Force is in us.
I promise you, we might be in a meeting in our religious organization right now, seriously, because part of our teaching, we say every living thing is bound by cords to every other living thing.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Yes. With even back to the ultra-terrestrial thing.
Yeah.
I heard a particular whistleblower speak to this. And this particular whistleblower, you know him. He was a med tech. So he was brought into the special programs working on bodies, and at a particular point he couldn't tell whether they were engineered or quote unquote alien, right? And he's worked on a whole bunch of things. Even he said that a number of these other beings say that Earth is like a museum because of the variety of life, right? And how, this is deep, how, yes, the predominant life form, intelligent life form looks like us, roughly, 2 arms, 2 legs, head, but there's other types, insectoid types, reptilian types, and things like that, right? And he said Earth is like a composite because you find variations of all of them right here
in one place.
So what's so crazy about that is that in our religious teaching, we teach a type of spiritual evolution. We don't teach that man evolved from aquatic being to this to monkey, blah, 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 blah. No. We teach that the thought, the essence is always the same. It never changes. But the manifest of the essence, its expression evolves.
Gotcha.
For instance, once upon a time, scientists thought that dinosaurs, that lizards and reptiles are the descendants of dinosaurs.
Right.
We know better now.
Yeah, cool.
It's not. Birds.
Birds are.
Birds are, you see? But the thought doesn't change, but the expression of the thought changes.
Right.
That's what evolves. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that falls exactly in line. So we say that there's different levels of expression. Mineral level, plant level, animal level. Get it?
Yeah, all the way up.
Right. David Bohm speaks to that. That's what he calls the implicate order in quantum mechanics.
Correct.
You have an order of manifestation, right? A brain cell is a brain cell, and it knows to be just a brain cell. What happens when it thinks that it's the brain? You have a tumor, and it's called cancer.
That's right.
It's outside of the order. You see?
Yeah.
It's outside of the order.
That's an absolute fact.
Yes. So this stuff is not religious dogma, just. It is science.
Science. That's what I love about it.
We want you to pick 3 things you need, or we can surprise you, whatever you want.
I can surprise me.
The first thing we are going to do is deep clean her home and
And I